recently took my annual trip to New York City. And during this trip, which I always go on with my mom, so it's not entirely dedicated to like going out and finding bookstores, I did still manage to go to 6 different bookstores. Growing up, I watched Dance Moms religiously. In Dance Moms, every week, the show would start with Pyramid. So this is my ranking of the 6 New York City bookstores that I went to this past trip as a Dance Moms Pyramid. I actually wrote my script in a different order than what this is on. And I know what's under this one and this one, but I kind of forgot the order that I put the other ones in. So this will also be a surprise for me. For each one, as I reveal it, I'm going to kind of go through a couple of criteria / some information about each one. So I'll give you the name, obviously, the location, any extra information, anything interesting about this particular bookstore, kind of the selection that's available, and then the layout from memory. So if my layout is wrong, sorry. And then my experience shopping there. And the part that's going the most into the ranking of this bookstore, I would definitely say it's going to be like selection, and that's a personal thing because for some of these stores you might be like, that sounds like a fantastic selection, and for me it wasn't like super great. So it's going to be selection and then my experience shopping there. That's going to go into the rankings. Number 6 is, you're not allowed to be mad for this one, Strand Books. Let me go through all my points first. So their main branch is East Village. It's an independent bookstore. It sells new books, used books, and rare books, which I'll talk about a little bit. Based on what I remember, the main floor is kind of going to be like your fiction, all fiction. So horror, thriller, mystery, romance, general fiction, all of that is going to be on the first floor. There's also a cafe on the first floor. It's small, but there is a cafe on the first floor. And then the second floor, I don't know exactly what you call it, but there was a lot of kind of like coffee table books, and then a selection of books on like fashion or art. I think music and like things related to that might be there. So then the third floor is going to be the rare books room, which if you have a chance to see, I would 100% recommend going up there. It's just really cool, and it has, when people say like a room smells like books, that's exactly what it smells like up there. But there are some really, really, really cool books in that room. I didn't touch anything because I didn't know if we were allowed to touch anything, so I erred on the side of caution. But yeah, lots of cool stuff up there. Definitely go up there if you have the chance. But that room has different hours than the rest of the store. So if you do want to go and make that a part of your experience in the store, you definitely need to check and see. And then going back down, actually there's basement. And basement, from what I remember, is nonfiction. So like memoirs, business, and then there was a section for language books. I believe biographies and stuff like that was down there. But yeah, that's kind of the general layout of the store. You've got nonfiction, fiction, art books, fashion books, other like coffee table books, and then rare books up on the top. Okay, and this is kind of mainly why I put it down here. Number 1 is that their layout and their way of organizing, I'm sure there was a method to the madness, but however, that madness did not click in my brain. So shopping in there was a very, very, very chaotic experience for me. It also could have been due to when I was there. So I was there on a weekend. I don't remember if it was Saturday or Sunday. I believe it was Saturday in the evening, the week before Thanksgiving. So there's no doubt in my mind that if I had gone on like a random Wednesday morning, that this store would have been significantly less crowded. But I mean, I didn't even have a chance to really move around and look and see what their selection was, because if you went to one spot, then there was just people already standing there, so you couldn't really get in close enough to browse. And then if you went to another part, you could barely walk there, and then you had to turn left, and it was really, really, really chaotic. But they have a lot of books. It's stacked up to the ceiling. There's a lot of stuff in there. So I would definitely still go and check it out. I kind of want to go back and check it out again just on that random Wednesday morning as opposed to a Saturday the week before Thanksgiving. I think it'll be a lot better then. So yes, that is Strand Books. I would definitely still go. Selection was absolutely incredible from what I could see, and just like a beautiful, beautiful store in general. But definitely chaotic. It was more chaotic in there than it was in either of the Barnes and Nobles that I went to, which I will talk about whenever they pop up on this board because, like I said, I don't remember where I put anything. So let's move on now to number 5. Number 5 is Don't Fall. Okay. Is Argosy Books. This store is actually really, really cool, and the main reason why it's here is just because of selection. This one is located on East 59th between Park and Lexington. It's actually New York City's oldest independent bookstore. I believe it turned 100 years old this year, which means it opened in 1925. So they say that they sell used books, which they do. They do sell used books, but it's like beyond used books. They have, when you first walk up to the front of the store, like that front facade part is just like a wall of books that they have on sale for like $3, so like a $3 novel. And those are like more recently still used books. They have just the most gorgeous, the entire thing smells like it has like that book paper smell too, because they have just a beautiful collection of unique antique, I would consider them, books, like covers falling off. Some of the most beautiful, like leather placed covers I've seen with like, I don't know if you consider like lace work or point work or needlework, but absolutely, absolutely gorgeous. It looks like a store of like spell books. So the main space of it is small from what I could see. It's a 6-story, like the building that they're in is 6-story, but the part that the public generally has access to is just this very small room on the first floor. It's all wooden bookshelves, and it seems like each thing was sorted by genre, and then like a little bit beyond genre, so it'd be like fiction, but then they had like Shakespeare over here. They actually had an entire section dedicated to just dance-related books, which is really interesting and kept me in there a little bit longer. I think I saw some stuff for cookbooks. Yeah, there was a lot. There was a lot going on in there. It was really, really, really cool. They also had a few sections for like $5 prints. They had a whole section of old covers of what I believe was the New Yorker. And they also had autographs. I definitely think it's a really, really, really cool place to go and check it out. The main reason why it's down here at number 5 is just because they had a really cool selection of books for a certain type of reader, and I'm just not that type of reader. I did spend a short time browsing around, and then I sat down at this table and I read a short story out of this book that I believe is called Black Swan, White Swan. It was from the dance section. It just had a collection of short stories relating to the dance world, so I sat down, I read one of those, and then I was out. But yeah, it was definitely a great place to kill time. There were people in there for, I feel like, research purposes. I would love to kind of see what else they have stored in there, because I mean 6 floors worth of books like that. They probably have some really, really cool things in there. Yeah, we're gonna move on to number 4. I think I now remember what's going on here. So for number 4, we have Barnes & Noble, both locations. So I went to both the location on 5th Avenue and I went to the location in Union Square, and this accounts for both of them. So we're going to start with 5th Ave, I guess, and then we'll do Union Square. So this is my 4th time going to the Barnes & Noble on 5th Avenue. It's not as big as you would think it is. It's 3 stories, basement, main floor, second floor. So in the basement, it's kids and nonfiction. Main floor is just bestsellers and kind of, it's the checkout area, so it's bestsellers. And then what you see just near the checkout counter at any Barnes & Noble's, bookmarks, reading lights, that kind of stuff. And then the second floor is where all the action is. That is where all the fiction is housed, and that's also where their Starbucks is, if you're wondering. In the Fifth Avenue one, I think I was there at night closer to closing time. This one is not as crowded and chaotic as you would think it is. Again, I was there during the same time period, a weekend or like a weekday, the week of Thanksgiving, so it was definitely room for there to be volume. A lot of people in there, but it was not super duper chaotic, so I enjoyed that. As far as their selection goes, they keep a lot of copies of the most popular books. But yeah, I mean, it's a Barnes & Noble, so if you go to a Barnes & Noble, this will also feel like a Barnes & Noble. So there's really no story to tell there on that one. As far as the one in Union Square goes, this is the one with 4 floors. I feel like it's the one that people post a lot about on social media when they talk about if you love reading and you go to New York, you have to go to the Barnes & Noble in Union Square. It has 4 stories. It's all these things. For me, it's the same thing. Like it's a Barnes & Noble. So it's definitely, if you like reading, you should definitely go. But it's still just a Barnes & Noble. So first floor, same thing, bestsellers, checkout area, music is in the back. Second floor, which I will say, if you read YA, you need to go to the Union Square Barnes & Noble. They have the biggest YA selection I have ever seen. I've gone to this Barnes & Noble twice, once this year, once the year before, and I spent my first time there like an hour and a half going through their YA section. It's absolutely massive. To me, that's the best part of this Barnes & Noble. YA selection is absolutely off the charts. So if you read a lot of YA, or if you're looking for something special from YA, like a special edition or something, they probably have it. I'm not gonna lie to you. They most likely have it. So I definitely go and check them out for YA alone. Third floor is nonfiction. Fourth floor is fiction. And actually, a funny story about this is when I went to this Barnes & Noble for the first time, because fiction was housed all the way at the top, I initially went in and I was kind of disappointed with how much it had been hyped up compared to what it was like being there, because I walked in, there was bestsellers on the first floor, so I was kind of browsing and I figured, oh, okay, this must be like the fiction section, but then I was looking around and I was like, no, this can't be it. So I went up another floor and I got stuck in the YA section, as I mentioned, for like an hour and a half. And then I was like, okay, I wandered around that floor. I'm like, okay, there's still no fiction section. So was the first floor like all the fiction that they have? I don't know why I thought this. I was probably being really dumb. And then I went up to the third floor. It was nonfiction. And I'm like, okay. And I was like, okay, there's one more floor up. But I think on the map, it says like event space, or it said event space. I don't know why I thought that the fiction section was entirely on the first floor. Anyway, I went up and it was like the holy grail of fiction books. I also do have an event space up there. But yeah, I was like, oh, okay, here it is. So yeah, I mean, they definitely, due to square footage alone, they have the ability to stock a lot of books. They actually didn't have one of the books I was looking for while I was there on this trip, Love in the Big City. I found that one in the Fifth Ave. Yeah, I found that one in the Fifth Ave Barnes & Noble. I was kind of surprised about that. So they have a lot of selection, they have a lot of stock. But if you're like me, I would definitely look up what they have in stock before you go, just to be sure, because you never know. But yeah, like I said, it's a Barnes & Noble. It's a big one. It's a really big one. But if you like to read YA, I would definitely prioritize going to this one over Fifth Ave. Because YA for Fifth Ave, it's pretty small. Like, I'm not going to lie. I think my local Barnes & Noble has a bigger YA section than the Fifth Ave one. Number 3 is... Pull. Why did I tape these down so hard? Strand Books stand. Very important differentiator here. Strand Books also operates a bookstore stand. It's on the very southeast edge of Central Park. It's on Fifth Ave between 60th and 61st. So if you walk up Fifth past all the shopping, and get on the left side, because that's the side that Central Park will be on. And if you just keep walking up after you cross in front of the Plaza Hotel, you will pass it. It's right there on 5th Ave between 60th and 61st. Like, you can't miss it as long as you're on the left side of the street. So yeah, they operate like a small bookstore stand. I believe there's 2. If you've ever been to a Christmas market or seen a Christmas market, how the storefront will be inside of like this little hut, shack, small shed looking thing, they have 2 of those. And then they have the section in the middle where the employees are, and then on the opposite side of the sidewalk they have a bunch of tables, and I'll explain the tables in just a second. I didn't take any videos of the tables because there were lots of people by the tables and it stressed me out. With the newer books that they carry, I only went inside one of the 2, if I'm even remembering right, there might only be one, inside one of the 2 like little hut shack thingies. So in that one, it was new fiction. And I remember this specifically because it had Sally Rooney intermezzo in there. So I know for a fact that all of it, that was like new fiction for the most part. And then they have, I didn't mention this with like normal Strand Books, but they do have like Strand Books merch, like tote bags, t-shirts, stuff like that. So they had things like that inside of this one too. I don't remember if there was a second one. I'm pretty sure there was a second one, but I don't know what was in there. And then on the tables, they have discounted paperback novels, $5 maybe. It might have been less, but I think it might have been $5. You definitely have to pick through them. It's a very thrift store experience. But again, if there were less people, I feel like you can definitely pick through and probably find something. I only stayed for a few minutes, not gonna lie. And it was kind of just to get a feel of it. I would have stayed longer, but again, there was a lot of people by those tables, so I didn't really get a chance to pick through all of the different novels that they had in those discounted bins. It's definitely a nice little like pit stop off if for some reason you can't get out to their main location in East Village. It has a very similar feel. It'll have a lot of the same like merchandise specific to the store there. But that is the Strand Book stand. And now we're getting into my top 2. Listen, the drop off between like 2 and the rest of these, how can I describe this? It's like if each of these are 1 rung ladder apart, this one is 10 rungs higher, and this one is about 700 rungs higher. That's how much I love number 1. It's elevated. Well, we will move this. Okay, this is a special thing. This is very important. This was a freebie that I got at a concert, and it has a very important person on it. So for me to put this here means that this is a very important thing. Okay, this is a top tier. This is top tier for me. Above, you can ask my friend this, like truly. Top tier means this, also top tier. Like I said, 10 rungs ahead, 700 to 1,000. This is very important, okay? Very important. And I found out that there's more of these. So I need to go back. Anyway, we'll get there. Number 2 is Albertine. You have to go here. Truly, you have to go here. And it's not even for the book buying. This one, in terms of selection, is so similar to like this place, because these are both very curated and specialized bookshops. This one for used books and this one for French books. It's located in the Upper East Side at 5th and 78th, I think. I didn't confirm this. I did that from memory. And it's located either inside or next to or near the French Embassy, and it's a part of the Cultural Services Department. If you actually like take a second and step back and look at just the outside of the building that this bookstore is in, it's absolutely gorgeous. The building, according to Google, is a Gilded Age mansion, like the architecture of it. This is a 2-story store, very, very small. Almost everything on the first floor is for adults. Whatever it is, it's for adults. All of it is on the first floor. Fiction, nonfiction, everything. And then on the second floor, which is the part that I love the most, that's actually almost all children's books. And then there was a little section of stuff related to like travel. And then off in the corner, they have a small section of rare books. I believe everything in here is new. I would say most of the books are in French, but there's children's books that are in English. And if you've ever seen a picture of a bookstore in New York with this beautiful, like celestial ceiling painted on it, it was Albertine. That ceiling, I'm reading this off the plaque. I took a picture of the plaque. The ceiling mural is modeled after a painting called Starry Sky, created by Franz von Stuck, and it features like zodiac signs. That part I added. I'd go back just to see the ceiling again. I spent so much time in here, not shopping for books, just sitting. So what was interesting about this bookstore is when I went to the second floor, there was actually a lot of people up there taking pictures. And I'm not saying taking pictures as in like a friend had their phone and they snap. No, girl, I'm talking tripod, Canon camera, timers, pose, like taking pictures. We were in outfits. They were using everything as props. So that part threw me off just a bit. But I ended up sitting in like a corner in the children's book section. When you come up the stairs and go left, there's like this little nook. I sat there for about an hour because it was so quiet in here. It completely blocks out the city. You can't hear a sound from outside. Like, sincerely, you can't hear anything. The only thing I can relate it to is, and this is a completely separate tangent, is when I was touring colleges, I went to tour Vanderbilt in Nashville, Tennessee. And when you first pull up to Vanderbilt, it's in the middle of Nashville. Like, in the middle of it. When you first pull up, it is super duper noisy, just the street noise in general. And then you walk through the admissions like building or wherever they have people come in for tours. And then when you walk back out the other side, it is completely silent. Like, it's like a Lion, Witch, in the Wardrobe stepping into another world type of thing. It's insane. That's how I felt sitting in this bookstore. You could not hear anything. And granted, the Upper East Side is a lot, like significantly quieter than anything in Midtown ever will be. I still can't get over how quiet it was in there. So yeah, I sat in there for about an hour. I thumbed through this book on like cafes in Paris. Figured out where I was going to go next. But yeah, it was super nice. 100% would go back. I would just go back with my own book to sit there and read, because it is a bookstore and you can buy the books out of it. But also it does seem to be kind of treated a bit like a library, where people will come in and read. When I was there, a mom came in with her son and they just kind of came in and picked a book off the wall and read it and then put it back and left. There's no employees walking around at all, so you can kind of just chill however you want. So I really liked it in there. Apart from where I was sitting, there was also a part that had couches. So if you're able to get in there and get a good spot, it's definitely super chill and really nice. So I loved it in there. Okay, guys, we're here. We're here at my God tier New York bookstore from now until the end of time, or until I go to one of the different locations and I swap this one out for a different location. But to me, the gold standard of bookstores in New York City is McNally Jackson. Let me tell you guys about the McNally Jackson bookstore on Rockefeller Center. I've gone there 4 times, and all 4 times it's been absolutely perfect. So, like I said, this one and the only one that I've been to is on the Rockefeller Center. It's on the 48th Street side, which is actually kind of the last little bit of that massive. Rockefeller Center is a massive complex that stretches multiple blocks of the city. So if you're looking for this one, you're going to want to go all the way over to 48th Street. It's going to be across from the Lego store and near where the Today Show films, if that helps. But there's actually 5 locations total. I found this out while I was Googling to get all of my extra information. And I was by one of the other ones. There's one in Soho. There's another one in Seaport. There's another one in downtown Brooklyn, and another one in Williamsburg. So now my new goal is to go to all 5 McNally Jackson book locations because I love this bookstore. This is an independent New York City-based bookstore. They've been operating since 2004. So the Rockefeller Center store, there's 2 floors. I'm really pulling this from memory because I really go in there and I get completely lost. It's amazing. I can't not sing their praises. You're going to go in, you're going to go to the left. That's going to be bestsellers. But I'm pretty sure for them, they do bestsellers according to what's selling well throughout their 5 stores. So let me think about books that I know for a fact that I've seen there. This is going to be very biased. I'm pretty sure Butter was there. I think Cleopatra and Frankenstein. I haven't read that one, but I believe it was there. Yeah, I'm really out. But all sorts of things, all sorts of books like that are on that first little bit when you go in and go to the left. And then I believe you have some of the nonfiction and then like history-related things. And then to the back is going to be kids. And then if you go to the right, which is where I spend at least 30 minutes every time I go to the store, it's just notebooks and pens. That's it. It's actually, this bookstore is where I got my reading journal from that I've been keeping track of books since last year. So I picked this up when I was there. Go away. Don't look at my face. Look at this. Yes, I picked this one up when I was there in 2024. This is made by a French company. And the only reason that I know that is because it's in French and then they translated it all to English. So this 5 Reasons to Read, they have it all written out in French. Yeah, so I really liked it. They had a couple of reading journals there this year, but I didn't see one that I particularly liked, so I did not buy one. But yeah, they have a great selection of notebooks and pens and stationery and all those types of things. Their second floor is where the action is, guys. And it's the way they have their fiction separated is why I love this store so much. So the second floor is mainly fiction. And then there's craft books, so like writing. Poetry is on this floor. I believe plays. And then there's another set of nonfiction, but it's more like nonfiction self-help. And then over here is music. So books relating to music. Why do I love this bookstore? Thank you so much for asking. It's because on the second floor, their fiction section, yes, some of it is sorted by genre. And by that, I mean they take out like the big genres. So horror, mystery, thriller, romance. All of the other fiction is sorted. Are you ready? Are you ready? Are you ready? It's sorted by country / like geographical area. Isn't that great? It's so great. So there's a section for fiction from the United States of America, from Canada, Scotland, Ireland, and then they have other places gathered in by region. And then once you get into the region, the shelves will be sorted out by country. So like in Asia, they have literature from China, Korea, Japan, the Philippines, India. They also had a section dedicated to Africa. I believe that one might have been sorted out by Sub-Saharan Africa and a couple of other places. But they had books from, I know for a fact, Nigeria, because I found a book that I wanted to read in this bookstore in that section. South Africa, Egypt. Then they had another section dedicated to Latin America that I didn't get a lot of chance to go through this time, but same thing. It's sorted out by country, so probably Mexico, Brazil, just all, oh my God, it's so great. Their method of sorting it like that, to me, is one of the best because I feel like it gives you the chance to go in and be like, I want to read a book from this portion of the world. Where can I find something? But my camera battery is about to die, so I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up. In case you can tell, this is my favorite bookstore in New York City. There are not a lot of places to sit. I will double back and say that at the Barnes & Noble in Union Square, there are literally people sitting on the floor. So you can sit anywhere there. Here, there's not a lot of places to sit, but just the way that the store is organized, it's in the middle of the city, like middle of Midtown. And at least when I went early in the morning, there was no one there. You have to visit this one, and I need to go visit the other 4. But yeah, that is my definitive ranking of bookstores in New York City. A couple of tips, and by a couple, I mean two. Number one, in New York City, you have to pay for bags. So if you're going out on a day specifically for book shopping, make sure you pack a bag to have the stuff in it. Make it a comfortable one. Make it a backpack. So that way you can put everything in and carry it back, and you don't have to pay the extra money for the bags. And if you're like me and you don't want to be surrounded by people when you go book shopping, go early. Not late, early. They call New York City the city that never sleeps for a reason. There will be people there late. There will not be people there early. And then just one more thing. Let's talk about kind of how far away these are from each other. So Strand Books and the Barnes & Noble in Union Square, super close to each other. 2 minutes away, stone throw. So if you're there, go ahead and go to both of them. Argosy and Albertine are about a 15-minute walk away from each other. And then the Strand Book Stand, if you're walking from Midtown to either of these two, you'll pass it on the way. So those three are all kind of close in relation to each other. And then the Barnes & Noble on Fifth Avenue and the McNally Jackson in Rockefeller are also extremely close to each other. I believe this one's close to like 46th or something. So you're 2 blocks over, and then you go like a block and a half up. So these two are also very close to each other. But yes, this is my ranking of the 6 New York City bookstores that I went to. If you go to any of them, go to McNally Jackson. I'm their biggest fan. Okay, that's it. Bye.